Oh, hello and welcome to the Lunch and Learn. My name is Mary Stoyanovich. I am the marketing assistant here at Polaris, and thank you for joining us. And let's get started. So today's presenter is Todd Delaney. He is the president of Polaris Business Solutions. He started a company back in 2007 and has nearly 25 years of experience with ERP and Dynamics Excel. So he clearly knows about today's topic, which is comparing Dynamics Excel with Acumatica. Ready to go, Todd?
I'm ready. Thank you, Mary.
Yep. All right. Take it away.
All right. Great. Well, thank you again, everyone. My name is Todd Delaney. Appreciate anyone taking time out of their schedule to join us today. And our goal today is to talk about Acumatica. I'm going to give you a quick PowerPoint presentation, followed by a demo. But the purpose of this is also to sort of compare it to Dynamics SL, because I'm assuming most of you on the call here today are familiar with Dynamics SL or are users of Dynamics SL. And so we want to make sure that you are comfortable that if you were to switch, the Acumatica could cover all the basis of features and support that you currently get with Dynamics SL, plus a couple additional things as well. And even if you're not using Dynamics SL, I think you'll still get something from this presentation, as this will be a short overview of Acumatica and some of the capabilities that it has. So I'm going to get started on the PowerPoint slide here. Hopefully everyone can see just fine. So first I'm going to share with you the Dynamics SL 2018 CU6 changes. I don't know how many of you are on 18 or have seen this. The release notes for this release were 4 pages long, but all the changes could have fit on 1 page. And you can see them here on the screenshot. And really, if you look at this more closely, you can see even one of the changes is relating to preparation for migration to Dynamics 365 Business Central. It's not even really adding any functionality to Dynamics SL. And the first option up here, the automatic posting, I would say should have been there a long time ago. So why do I point this out? Well, here's the latest release of Acumatica's release notes. This is just 1 page of the table of contents. So clearly they are putting a lot more into the product than SL is doing. This release notes are 254 pages long, just 250 pages longer than the Dynamics SL release. So it is pretty clear that Acumatica is putting in a lot more effort into their development than Microsoft is putting into Dynamics SL. In addition, Acumatica is providing launch events and summits regarding the product, and I certainly provides a lot of information for you to see what is the latest in Acumatica. But who is Acumatica? Well, Acumatica is the world's fastest growing cloud ERP company with locations here in the United States and engineering in Russia and Mexico. We have engineering and support in Mexico and in Montreal, sales and support office in the DC metro area. And in addition, we have OEM partners who localize the Acumatica ERP for region requirements and resell it under their own recognized and respected label. For example, many of you may have heard of MYOB in Australia. Mind Your Own Business has been a competitor to QuickBooks for years, but they have taken the Acumatica platform and created MYOB Advance using the Acumatica platform, but are marketing it under their own product. So this provides Acumatica with a great deal of additional users and expertise in the development of the product. Acumatica has been partnering with Amazon and Microsoft for years. Amazon and Microsoft are sponsors to the Acumatica Summit each year. And the upcoming release of Acumatica 2021 R2 coming up in the next several weeks. There's a very exciting Microsoft Teams integration that we're very excited about as well. There are 350 VARs, value-added resellers like Polaris Business Solutions, in the Acumatica ecosystem. And we're required to get certified in several different disciplines: practice management, sales management, product management, professional services, marketing. And in addition, we'll have to actually get authorized and the individual product features as well, right? We have to understand how distribution, manufacturing, field service, et cetera, are implemented and maintained. So there's 350 VARs, and there's also 240 plus ISV or independent software solutions. So again, that expand upon what Acumatica does out of the box. There are products centric or service centric or automation and productivity additional products that can be bought on to perhaps additional financial reporting capability or telephone integration or shipping integration. So you can see here that the ecosystem is quite large. And if you were to attend the Acumatica Summit, it'd be a huge conference hall with several different, many of these companies here talking about their products and how they can enhance the Acumatica solution. Dynamics SL, of course, had similar ISVs. There are over 8,000 customers worldwide. So this, since we started supporting Acumatica, this is more than quadrupled. So they are definitely growing very quickly. But why has Acumatica been so successful over the years is because of this Acumatica cloud platform. And so I'm not going to get too technical during this presentation, but this platform allows anything to be built on top of it to be multi-tenant, multi-language, have integration and web services, be able to be mobile friendly, be able to work across multiple different browsers. And so on top of this platform, Acumatica has built their ERP, of course, financials, project accounting, et cetera, that we're able to be deployed in the Acumatica product. Because this is a cloud-based system, we're able to do integrations to other cloud-based systems. So one of the many examples we use here would be sales tax. If you ever had to maintain sales tax tables and Dynamics SL, or keep in track of the latest changes in sales tax, companies like Avalara and Vertex provide this via the cloud. Avalara does have an integration with Dynamics SL. And so it also has one with Acumatica. And it pulls down the sales tax amount based off the information on the invoice. In addition, we have other popular integrations with DocuSign. Has the ability for you to enter in information or a transaction started in Acumatica, perhaps a project quote or a sales quote, and then you can email it from Acumatica via DocuSign, and then you can have your customer sign the document, and then it gets sent back into Acumatica. So that way you're able to get the proper customer signature and sign off, but all the information has been originating from Acumatica. These are some of the things that you're able to do with the Acumatica integrations, and some of these things just aren't going to be possible with Dynamics SL. You can access this from anytime, anywhere, on any device. So obviously we have our normal laptops and desktop machines. We also have browsers on our. We have an Acumatica app to be available on your phone or on your iPad. And coming on a new release, yes, even the Apple Watch is now available to get some basic information out. Currently also available is you can talk to Alexa and get information on where do I need to pick the next item for this order in the warehouse, or how much inventory do we have in the warehouse. So all the information, everything is available via the cloud, via a browser from any device, not just the things that you would have currently in web apps today. The full product is available on your desktop, on your laptop, on your iPad, on your phone. So what is available? What kind of modules do we have? All the same module classes that you're familiar with in Dynamics SL, which would be your financials, your distribution, your projects, field service, manufacturing as well. So we can see all these modules are available in Acumatica, including payroll, and a CRM, which is completely integrated with Acumatica in one single database. There's no need to have an external CRM package, and it's a different database and trying to keep customer information consistent between both applications. As far as using or deploying Acumatica, there's a couple different options. One is the public cloud, which is what most people choose. This is where we allow Acumatica to host our instance of Acumatica. So it'll be something like polaris.acumatica.com, and you would go to that particular browser, open up that web address in your browser, and have access to Acumatica. They would pay for it. You would pay as part of your subscription all the hosting, infrastructure, backups, security patches would all be maintained by Acumatica. That would be offloading those tasks from your internal IT. Or if you choose, you could do a private cloud. You could deploy it internally within your own servers that you currently have, or you could use a private cloud provider like Polaris also has a private cloud, or throw it on an AWS or Azure and maintain it yourself. So there's multiple different options to do that. If you change your mind, if we've had customers decide they want to do private cloud and then later change their mind to go public cloud, we can do that. So you're not locked in with any sort of like 5-year commitments or termination penalties if you decide to change your mind. Another thing that's quite a bit different about the way that Acumatica handles things is unlimited users. So there's no per user fees. So this allows you to extend this out to customers, vendors, other partners, or all employees as well. And you'll see there's reasons you want to have all your employees to have access to Acumatica. And you can control what access they have by roles. So they don't necessarily need access to everything, but it's not just timesheets. It could be approvals. It could be project. It could be any sort of reporting information that's could be relevant for their job. So as your business grows and you add more headcount, you don't have to pay more in a per seat license. It is consumption based, so it is based off the number of transactions that you use, and they're all based in tiers and very well laid out in the Acumatica pricing. This is a unique thing as well, customer bill of rights. So these are 10 commitments that Acumatica makes to their customers. You would think a lot of these would be pretty obvious, but I haven't really seen any other vendors do this. So if you are looking to move off Dynamics SL in the near future, see if your vendor is willing to do and commit to these 10 things that Acumatica has here. So that concludes the PowerPoint. We're going to get into the demo, but I believe Mary has a quick poll for everyone.
I do. I hope you guys are seeing that.
Yes, so what version of Dynamics SL are you using? So it should popped up for everyone on there. Give you a few moments to fill that out. It's helpful to kind of see that as we look at everyone here. Okay. All right, well, thank you everyone for your responses. I'm going to share my screen again. It gave me just enough time to pull up Google Chrome. Mary, you can see my screen okay, I presume?
I can, and I'm going to close the poll now.
Thank you. All right, so what I have here is Google Chrome. You can use Edge, you can use Safari. No Internet Explorer, please. You should not be using Internet Explorer for really anything at this point in time. But all you need is any modern browser will work for Acumatica. So there's nothing to install on your workstation. You don't need to install the Dynamics SL client. We don't need to do any of those registry updates we have to do since SL 2015. And by the way, I don't mean to keep bashing Dynamics SL. I've been using it for, supporting it for 25 years. It's been great. It's just not being supported or developed the way that we would like to see it continued. So when we look here at Acumatica, I've got a unique IP address here that I'm connecting to. You would have one as well. You would connect to it, and over here on the right-hand side, we would type our username and password. And notice we got a couple gentlemen here working. These are pictures. These pretty pictures can be customized for each site. So if you don't like the stock ones that come with Acumatica, then we can put some that are relevant for you. When I log in here, we can also do two-factor authentication, something I don't think we can do in Dynamics SL. And if we had multiple companies or multiple tenants, they would be listed here as well, but only the ones that we would have access to. So I'm going to go ahead and click sign in. Okay. And notice right away, we have some pretty colors. We have a dashboard. I'm guessing most people aren't able to do a dashboard in SL unless you've implemented Power BI. So this gives us, this is my home screen. So when I first logged in, this was what I was able to see. So if I had, I'm here as the, basically the admin, or basically would be sysadmin and Dynamics SL, right? So I'm going to see everything in the system, but the controller dashboard happens to be my home screen. If you're in accounts payable, you might have a different dashboard as your home screen. But what we're able to do here is give the most important information for that role, for that user, to them as soon as they log in. And assuming you have the proper rights, it's very easy to configure this. So I might see these red items here are pretty scary. I have an average day of the pay of 88 for AR, and so that's really not good. But I can click on design, and that enables these little pencils that I can edit. And here I get the widget properties. Each one of these tiles on here is a widget. And down here, I can see that the alarm level is set to 60. Well, if I just change that to 90 and hit finish, and then get off design mode, then look, it's not red anymore. I haven't really solved the problem, but you can see how easy it is to go in here and make some changes to this. I'll change this back to 60. Honestly, I didn't fix anything, did I? I can look here at my over 90 days past due. I got 55 customers that are over 90 days past due. You'll see that this demo data has some older data, and I apologize for that. But I can click and drill down into this and see what's going on. So this is the drill down of that particular tile. And this is basically looks like a quick query, I think. It is called a generic inquiry in Acumatica, and provides us with the information related to that particular tile or widget that I clicked on. And within here, I can also sort. So I can sort descending on here, and I can see, the equity group investors owes us, $21 million. I can sort by any of these particular columns that I care about. And also I can look here, and I can say, look for a particular owner, which would be an employee, an internal employee. I'm going to see anything that has Jay's name on it. So now I've filtered on all these overdue customers where Jay is the owner, perhaps, either that's the salesperson or whoever owns the relationship with that customer, however you want to define that. And so now I can call Jay and have a conversation about all these overdue customers and what we're going to do about that. There's other dashboards that come with the system. These are, they come with it, and we can obviously start here and then customize them as need be. So you can see we have them broken down into several different areas. I'm going to click on this customer view one here under the CRM section. And you're going to see another dashboard, some of the same information, some different, right? Again, a lot of red. Very alarming. And we can see additional, not only the sales opportunities, because again, we do have CRM integrated in here, but also the AR balances. And because I have CRM and I have support cases, I can see their open support cases. I can see, or total open support cases, I should say, our inventory items purchased over the last 12 months. And as I hover over it, it gives me some additional information. Recent activities, again, coming from CRM. But I may want to look at, this isn't as helpful looking at this for all customers. I really want to look at it for one specific customer. So I can click on the magnifying glass and then click on a particular customer. And now all the information has been updated to show just that one particular customer. So now I'm looking at one support case and it's overdue for a customer. I'm looking at their contacts, their recent activities, their items that they've purchased. Okay. So we can do this on any number of dashboards, create a filter so that you know project information, etc. So we can drill down into that. I can also click on overdue. I'm going to click on open opportunities. I got 153 open opportunities. Again, gives me another drill down. I think it looks very familiar to QuickQuery, but what we can't do in QuickQuery is add these pretty colors. So this pink or red is supposed to be indicating to me that something is wrong, right? And you can see that the estimation date for these opportunities is past due, which is why they are red. And these fields here, owner and contact, are blank, and so they are highlighted in yellow. So we could do these things with generic inquiries as well. Have it call out information not only on the dashboard, but also within the generic inquiry detail or drill down as well. And if I like certain information, like perhaps I want to see the account name closer, I can just click and drag that over here. And so now the account name is a little bit closer. So you have that capability of moving these things, columns around as necessary. So when I logged in here, you may notice, of course, a long list of modules here. Again, because I'm admin or sysadmin in the SL world, I get to see everything, right? So users are linked to roles, and so whatever access I have within those roles will determine what I get to see along the side here. So if I'm in payables, and my role is payables, I might see payables. I might see something in banking. I might see something in purchase orders, but I probably won't see anything else in finance or MRP or bill of materials, etc. So it is, I think similar in that role as SL, where we had financials and projects and manufacturing and field service and reporting along the left-hand side. But when you click on payables, for example, you don't have another submenu that you need to expand. So here is payables, the payables menu. We have some tiles up here along the top. So a new bill, a new payment, new vendor. So we can just click on this and we'll launch the vendor form for us to enter in a new vendor. Down here in the menu item, we can click on new vendor in here as well. If I just click on the vendors link, it's going to give me a list of all the vendors. And I could click on new up here too. So I got 3 different ways I can click on vendors. There is a show all button. So now I can see all the screens and reports within the payables. And so this is done using our little configure quick menu. So you can highlight or check which things are the most important to you. So for example, I don't ever really need to update vendor locations, but I do like to see the AP balance by GL account. So if I clicking this, I click exit, and then I go back to show less. Now the AP balance by GL account is listed, and the vendor locations is not. So that is configurable by each user, and they can see the items that they use most often. And of course, just like with Dynamics SL, we can favorite screens. So I can click on the little star button here, and bills and adjustments are now favorite. If I go click on favorites, there they are. And if I go back here, I can unfavorite. And of course, it is now gone too. So we can favorite screens just like we can in Dynamics SL. So finding things is pretty easy. I mean, even though you can see there's a lot of different menu items, and if we click through receivables and banking, right, there's a lot of screens in here. So that's why Acumatica has added a universal search field up here. If I type in 1099, I can see all the menu items that are available that contain 1099. We have similar functionality in Dynamics SL also. Also, within this universal search, I can click on any one of these 4 different tabs. And so now I can click on help topics. And so now I can also am querying all the 1099 articles within the help. if I make a change here, let's say I go 908 space 532. Okay, there's no menu items for 908 532. But if I click here, it did find a phone number for USA Bartending School. So it's able to get down to the transactions and the profiles, right? Profiles being customers in this case, and see anywhere what finds that text 908 532. I think that's pretty powerful. I can also type in the word case. And I have obviously some screens here, but under files, because we can do file attachments just like we can in Dynamics SL, we can actually search the names of the files that were attached. And this would be a hyperlink to the particular file that's within there. So universal search searches menu items, transactions and profiles, help, and also the files. That's some of the navigation. I'm going to get into some more details here. One more navigation thing. We get into finance. I'm going to bring up journal transactions. So this is a list of entries in the system. And if you're a Dynamics SL user familiar with how journal transaction works, you might find it a little odd to see AR and inventory transactions here in your journal transaction screen. Those SL users who are familiar with initialize mode know that they could click on initialize mode and see how did this AR entry post and see all the particular details of it. But it may be a bit overwhelming for people who just want to go in and do a journal entry to see all these different transactions. So that's not a problem. We can create a filter. It looks like I have one already created, but I'm going to create a new one anyway. I'm going to say, I'm going to click on the filter section up there, and I can click on the property, any of these fields that are available here. So I'm going to click on module is equal to, and I have a drop-down list on here, GL. I click apply. So now I have just GL transactions in here, and I can say save, because I already have one up here. I'm just going to call it demo. I could also share this configuration with everybody else, or if I think it's only going to be relevant for me, I can leave that unchecked. I click OK, and now I have a demo filter across the top. If I go back to all records, I see everything. And we could even make demo your default filter. So when you first logged in, your list of only GL transactions would be available there. So this is available throughout all Acumatica, where you see what we call a PL, a primary list. You'll see this little filter settings on here that you'll be able to change. And some other filters up here along the top too, right? So in case you wanted to do it that way. But if you knew it was something you wanted to have all the time, you could click the filter and hit save. Let's click on a journal transaction. I'm not going to create one from scratch, but we'll talk about it. So I click on the hyperlink and it brings up the journal transaction screen, the journal transaction form. You'll notice similar to SL, there is like a batch, what they call a batch section in SL, and of course our detail section down here, or the grid. So some things should be very familiar. Batch number, that sounds familiar, right? We have control over, we can put alpha within the our numbering sequences in Acumatica. Our status of posted, that should be familiar. Transaction date, good old period to post. We call it post period in Acumatica. So you type in a transaction date, it defaults in the post period for you. So there's nothing new to learn here about posting or periods. It's very familiar, very similar, almost named exactly the same as it is in SL. We can put a description on the transaction itself. And of course, we have our actual ledger, and we have debits and credits and control totals. But you can turn control totals off in Acumatica if you so choose to do so. And then down in our grid, we have the ability to see everything you would typically see within that particular entry account, along with the account description. Isn't that nice? Sub-accounts, projects, tasks, and of course our debit and credit and transaction amounts. So you may also have noticed there's this other field called branch. So let's see here. Let's bring up and talk about the different reporting units that we have. So I'm going to do a universal search, and I'm going to start typing in company. And you can see here I have a menu item called companies. So I'm going to right click and say open a new tab. That still keeps the journal transaction screen open, but now I have the company screen open. So now here within this tenant, I have 3 different companies. And so I could click on the products company. And within the products company, I can have something called branches. I have retail and wholesale. So in SL, you have, company ID as well, and you have account, sub-account, along with project and task if it's enabled. So same thing in Acumatica, but we also have a level called branch. So normally we would have that incorporated in the sub-account in Acumatica, but we could break that out if there was certain reporting, if there was, user access that we want to control by branch. It gives us another layer to do reporting without having to either complicate a sub-account. We can put it out into a branch. And so when I've logged in, I did log in to the last branch I logged into was products wholesale under the revision to products company. And so that is why that branch has defaulted in there. If I create a new entry and I come down here and I go into my account, I'm going to want to create a new journal transaction. So I'm going to hit rent, but I don't remember the rent account number. Well, I can just start typing rent and it starts finding things for me. Notice I might have gone too fast. RE, it's dynamically updating this as I go. And so then I can pick the rent account here. That is something, I can hit all zeros here, and then I could pick a project if that was relevant too. And I have a list of projects. Or if I did know the account number, I could click on the lookup button to get a list of the account numbers. Or I could hit the magic F3 button that everyone is familiar with in SL and get the same lookup. That way you don't have to necessarily use the mouse. But I find that I am just typing in the account name, as much of the account name as I possibly can, to find the GL account that I'm looking for. When we're talking about accounts, one other screen I'm going to bring up briefly is the chart of accounts. And this is for you project users out there. Notice that there is a field here called account group. Notice A is not empty. So when I look at account groups, these are account categories in SL, right? Same type of function that you're familiar with there. I link an account category or account group in Acumatica to a GL account. When I do that, project reporting is enabled, right? And it will roll up on the account project side under that particular account group. Payables. I'm going to open up a new payables. Oops. Yeah, we'll do it that way. One thing that's different in payables, there are no batches. It is all one document, is one record. And that is a bit different probably for many users, but there is a reason for this. And we'll see as let me go back and find one I already started. I'm going to open up this pure water one. And so I've entered in this pure water purchase and I've distributed down to the account and sub-account level. No project required for here, but it was a $1,500 invoice. I probably even attached it up here in the files. And if I'm so inclined, there is an AP document recognition module where we can have emails being fed into Acumatica that will automatically recognize AP bills. Look for the vendor ID, the invoice number, etc., and have that record ready to go and attached. And then accounts payable just has to review it to make sure that the document recognition found all the appropriate fields. And so that would eliminate a lot of time for people doing data entry. When I'm done with a bill in here, instead of doing like a release now, I just take it off hold. And notice that this changes the status to pending approval. So if I look at the approval details tab, I can now see that Michael Andrews is now going to have to approve this AP bill before I can pay it. So we have approval and workflows within Acumatica as well. So this is another reason why the unlimited user pricing is great, because you may have users that don't actually do data entry, but you may want them to go in and review particular things like AP bills or purchase orders. I'm going to do one more thing here in finance. And I know a lot of SL users just absolutely love MR, Management Reporter, and FRX. They just love rebuilding the data mart, and they love going into a separate application to run their financial reports. But Acumatica has reports native within the system and accessible from the menu. So I can run a profit and loss rolling. I'm going to do the rolling 12 month. It's asking me if I want to save changes to my AP bill. I'm going to say no. I don't care about that at this point. And so now here's my profit and loss rolling 12 month. I can pick what ledger I want to run it on, but I also can pick my financial period. So I'm going to pick period 12 of last year. And then I'm going to click Run Report. So this is your financial reports. This is MR, right? This is your basic financials. We got rows, that's the rows going across here, just like you did in MR. We got columns going down here. We can even have trees, so I can. They're called unit sets in here, so we can drill down in here. There's no third-party product that you guys have to worry about when with Acumatica. You can add a third-party product that will do some, more graphing and make the reports perhaps prettier. But as far as reporting, doing financial reports, it is all native within here. And of course, as you can tell, there are hyperlinks. So if I want to look at a particular number that looks odd, like that number looks really high, I can see what GL accounts make up that balance. And then I can click on the line item, and then I can see the actual details, the account details that made up that particular transaction. So very easy to hop into, back into Acumatica, of course, right, to get all the details of what made up that number on the financial statements. In addition, we have email integration with Acumatica. So it's already attached this file on here as a PDF, and so I can add a new user as well that can go in there and send this information to them. We could talk about budgets. The budgets within Acumatica are very similar to Dynamics SL. We can compare budgets to previous years, but generally speaking, you have a budget ledger, just like you did in Acumatica, and you can put that budget information in the system to report against. I don't know that I have much information in this ledger. But here you can see for like our revenue accounts, I'm able to pick, do a period by period financial within here, break it down by month, and do the same thing for other purchasing accounts. This is just a way for us to kind of group this together, right? Kind of make it easier to manage. Again, the same sort of things you're used to, I think, in SL. What ledger am I reporting it for? What financial year am I doing it? Count and sub-account details required. So any like full-fledged like budgeting software, just like SL, that would be a third-party integration. Okay, so Mary's going to ask one more poll question here.
Yeah, and should have launched it, so it should be popping up on your screens in a second.
So what module groups are you using in Dynamics SL? And you're able to select multiple options on here. Everyone's using financials if they're using Dynamics SL. Project would be project controller, allocator, flexible billings. Distribution would be purchasing, order management, and inventory. Manufacturing, field service should be pretty self-explanatory. And CRM, I know there's not a CRM in SL, but if you're using any CRM. So I will give you guys a second there to do that. Okay, perfect. All right. So looking at your results there, this helps me determine what would be most relevant in the few moments that we have together. Again, this is going very fast, very high level, just trying to whet your appetite, right? Go to dashboards. Okay, and I'm going to go to projects, and I'm going to go to project manager dashboard. So you will see we have projects, specific dashboards already designed in here, so I can look at active projects, which ones have late tasks, who do we have a low billing ratio to underutilized employees, right? All these are unprofitable projects. So I can click on this and drill down into it. And so here are my 3 projects. Well, it looks like 2 of them are internal projects. So we can update the generic inquiry to perhaps ignore internal projects from that, so we don't get a false positive on that. So we have, this project manager view. And of course, if you're just a regular consultant, or not a manager, I guess I should say, you have a project consultant dashboard, which has different information, your billing ratio, any open tasks that you have, and also a hyperlink to enter in timesheets and expense reports. Web apps I thought was an improvement over Business Portal, but web apps is still very temperamental. So the nice thing about Acumatica is like everything is on the web, so everything has to work on the web, right? So there's not like a separate install for web apps. Everybody would have access to Acumatica, including people who just have to enter in their time, and it'd be the same interface that everybody else is using. So I'm going to click on projects, and because this is a demo system, and we have multiple positions, it's actually under the construction in this particular case. But if you were a construction company, there are some add-ons that you can purchase. But we would do this here under, in most cases, it would probably just be under projects. And so here's our list of projects, and I have not talked about this search up here, but I can do a search here, and this does a search just in the grid results. It's not the universal search, it is just within those grid results. So I'm going to pick this particular project. And now, just like the project screen and project controller, there's a lot of things in here. And so I'm going to go over this pretty quick, but the main thing here is, while the layout's a little bit different, a lot of the same fields you're used to in the project screen and SL is here in Acumatica as well. So we got our employee 1, right? Our manager field here. We have multi-currency capabilities of 2, change order workflow, restrict employees and equipment if we want to. And then we have things like, allocations. So we can do allocations here too. I can click on the little pencil to bring up the allocation rules. And so here in their allocation rules, I can say, hey, take labor, multiply it times a rate type called labor task, and then book it to an unbilled AR and an unrecognized revenue, or perhaps revenue. So this is, while the layout is different, it is almost exactly the same functionality of what's available in SL. We've converted from Dynamics SL to Acumatica, and it basically took my existing allocation methods and put them in here. And we've done the same for other clients as well. Some things that are a little bit different, we're able to do like descriptions. We're able to get a little more fancy in what we can post as the description of the transaction. And we also have things called billing rules, right? Again, very familiar. So we can say, this is a particular invoice, and then where do we want to post? Usually in this case, we would relieve the unbilled AR, right, in this particular set. But we have different billing rules as far as what do we want the print. Here you can see we're picking the billable quantity times the price. There's a lot of different options in here. Again, it looks a little bit different, but we're able to take billing rules from Dynamics SL and put them over into Acumatica. The allocation methods are there as far as the project, the rate tables. We're able to do additional rate tables in here, so we can have multiple rate tables, just like SL. We got our rate types. Instead of having just one letter for the rate types, we can have fuller description, which is obviously very beneficial. And then we can even have our sequence, which would be the hierarchy. And SL, you had 9, and you had to kind of plan for the spaces within there. Within Acumatica, it's easier to kind of insert levels later if you forget to do so at that point in time. Rate types, and we even have a rate code within there. So we have an even additional level to do a lookup if we need to use that. And we start date and our billing rate, and then we can see what inventory items, which is our labor classes in SL. Our labor classes are non-stock inventory items. So we can see which labor items should get that. And what I'm trying to convey in our short amount of time that's left is I'm able to get the same information, the same setup I had in SL on the project side in Acumatica. A couple of the other reports on here, you can see I can get the actual income and actual expenses on here. But if I hop over to this balances tab, this is basically project net profit, right? So we got our account groups, account categories in SL, but our account groups. And we have, our original budget amount, any revised budget amount, which would include, of course, change orders, commitments. So anything from, purchasing related to that, how much we've invoiced, and what the actual amounts are. So there's our budget versus actual. We have an invoices tab. So this will list all the invoices for the particular project. There's not a flexible billings module, but we can do all that billing right here in what is called a pro forma invoice. So I'll click on the link and I can see the details of the invoice. This was a time and materials invoice, not a progress billing. So I click on the time and materials, and I can see all the detail that would have came over as part of the allocation, which would have came over as part of the time entry, right? Be loaded into the pro forma invoice with the fully billable rate. Notice as well, write-off remaining, hold remaining, right? And bill, same, don't have the separate columns like we do in flexible billings, but we do have those capabilities of, I want to just write this off. We can't write that off. And of course, notes, yes, little yellow stickies that you're familiar with in SL, available in pretty much every screen, and also header notes, lots of space to type in header notes, just like in Dynamics SL. So we can write notes on here and decide whether we do or do not want those to print on the invoice. Let me go here real quick. So those were invoices. We have change orders and other items on here. We can specify that too. Attributes. I should talk about attributes quickly. Attributes are used in a lot of different screens, projects, inventory items, customers, vendors. It is characteristics of that type that you want to track. So on vendors, you may want certain information. Are they minority or women-owned business? Are they able to do this type of work? Those are attributes that you would want to track by vendor. We can set those up as an attribute and what possible values are available there. Same on the project side too. So if we want, additional information in here, project director, we can have that linked to another employee field lookup and be able to pull that in. One of the things I know this is important for a lot of project users is time and expense. So we have a time and expense module. So I can do an employee time card and click on my hyperlink here. And I have my employee time card. I have my week ending period. And I can see the my employee has dropped in from how I'm logged in. Maxwell Baker happens to be the admin. And then I can see details. So I can add in detail line items in here. There's a lot of other fields on here that a lot of you may not use, similar as it was in SL. And as opposed to SL where you need a customization manager to hide things, we can do that within the system. Nothing additional needs to buy. Just someone needs to have the customizer role. And so if I don't want to see certified job, for example, I can actually just go here and get rid of certified job and click OK. And now it's gone, right? So we can get these columns in the right order that you want, but we can put the project, the task, and the time spent by line item. And we have our description over here, simply said hi. And then on the summary tab, we list all the unique project and task and the total hours for that project and task for the week. And our labor item in this case, like I mentioned before, is our labor classes. So, it is able to do the time cards. You would have the approval method on here, line item, or just by the employee's supervisor. And one last thing on the expense thing, I see we have a couple questions. We can do expenses, and you can do them from your mobile device. So we have a client that has the expense receipt recognition. So they take a picture of their expense receipt on their phone, and then it recognizes what the document is, and then it's able to put that expense receipt into the system and then they may have to pick a particular project, right? But if it picks the description, usually the date, the amount, and you might have to pick the project, you save it, and then you can throw away your receipt. You don't need to keep the receipt anymore because it's already attached in the expense receipt as a picture. And then you can combine your receipts into a claim and to get reimbursed or for a company credit card. So I know we talked about, I went through a lot of things. There's distribution, there's manufacturing, there's field service, a lot more. I mean, project is probably a 2-hour demo in and of itself. But the main goal I wanted to get across here was, if you're using certain functionality in SL, I'm quite confident you're going to find that in Acumatica as well. And in addition, all the other things you get with a cloud ERP, right? Mobile friendly, browser based, this time of COVID, being able to work from home and not have to worry about a VPN and remote desktoping in in order to get access to SL, and then the printing issues that are related to that. The cloud really starts to make more and more sense. I do see we have a question about the banking module. So the banking module is basically cash manager / bank rec modules. I'm more of a cash manager fan than I am a bank rec module in SL. So we have transactions and transfers just like you do in SL. Bank deposits. So bank deposits is where we bring together payment applications, enter in accounts receivable, and make a deposit. And also we can do our reconciliations, our bank recs in here too. One other thing that I think works really quite well in here is the ability to import in bank transactions into Acumatica and have them matched against transactions that are entered in as well. So that helps to save some of the reconciliation time at the end of the month, where we can just bring in that information. So the banking module is basically cash manager, I think, is the short answer. If you have any more questions, please put them in the Q&A. Put them in the chat if you have any more questions. Do definitely appreciate everyone's time today. Hopefully everyone was able to get the Grubhub. Let us know what else you have, what kind of controls logging has is concerning vendor and employee creation. Yeah, very good. It has extensive. In Acumatica, we had to buy, gosh, I can't remember the third-party product we've used before in the past, but we, in order to do that sort of tracking of, extensive tracking of, who's touched this record and what's happened. Acumatica, SL has, of course, the created user and last updated user, right? Date and time and program. Acumatica has the same, right? In addition, you have audit history that you can turn on and audit. So we can do, pick a particular screen like, vendors and say what fields we want to track. So even if someone is changing the name of the vendor or the address, we can capture that information and be able to report on that in here. So, we're tracking a clients like who's changing user security, right? We want to know who's able to do that. So it has extensive audit tracking from that standpoint. And to the extent that you needed a third party in SL in order to do that, and that comes standard with Acumatica, no additional cost. Hopefully that answered your question. If you think of any questions even after we get off the phone, at the call ends, just shoot us an email. I think you have our contact information. We'll be following up with you as well once we have this recording available for you to review and share with other people in your organization that may not have been able to attend. We're happy to give you a demo that's more specific to your specific needs, of course. Okay, I don't see any other questions this time. All right. Well, Mary, I think we'll call it here. Thank you everyone for attending. I do definitely appreciate it. Hopefully you found this useful, and I guess we'll be in touch soon.
Yeah, if you guys have any questions, you know our email is info@polaris-business.com. And if you guys have any questions at all, just email us there and we'll find whatever and do whatever we can to help you. But thanks for joining.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Have a great day.